So I'm really excited about this video today. I've been looking at this stove online for what feels like donkey's years, thinking one day I'm going to get this stove. Well, the day has come. It got delivered this morning and I've just brought it down here to do an unboxing video, have a quick look at what's inside. I didn't get any extras with it. The only extra that came with it, and that was a freebie, is the pipe brush, but I'll add to it, you know, Christmas presents, birthday presents and things in the next couple of years. But I've just got the basic stove. I'm doing it undercover because it looks like a thunderstorm any second is going to absolutely pour down. So we're going to do it undercover. Let's get her unboxed and have a look. Right, so I've just lifted it out of the box because it was too high on the table. So, and this is how it comes in the packaging. Basically, it's everything that you get is in there. All the pipes for the flue and everything are all inside. So what I'll do first is just fold the feet out. There's quite a positive click into place. That's good. Pretty sturdy feeling feet. So it is worth mentioning, just as I'm lifting it, it's quite a heavy old stove. I think it's about 8 or 9 kilos, something like that, maybe 10 kilos. Obviously I'm not trekking anywhere. I wouldn't want to carry it too far. You can buy a bag, I think it's about £40, like a shoulder bag, that it goes into, and all your spare bits and bobs can go in there with it. But for me, I only really camp out down here, and I'm happy to just carry it as you can with these racks here. That's fine for me, and I'll just keep it at home and, you know, in the garage. So I just drive down here. I haven't got to carry it any further than just up into the woods, so it's not a problem for me. But let's open it up and have a look inside. So a bit more foam. So that is the ash scraper that comes with it, obviously for getting in and scraping the ash out the bottom, and you can also use the little hook for hooking out the top cook pan, removable cook pan bit, and I'm assuming everything is stainless, 304 stainless, so I'm assuming even the scraper is stainless as well, I should expect. So these are all your stove pipes. Should be 4 flat sections, plain sections, and that one has got the spark arrestor in it. And that one has got the inline flue baffle, just to help when you're controlling your airflow. And then 2 more plain sections. So I'm actually quite pleased. I've seen a few videos where the door just swings, and although it is actually adjustable, you've got nuts on there so you can nip it up, but there's actually a little bit of stiffness to that, so it shouldn't blow shut like I've seen in a few videos when you're loading the fire. So inside you've got a grate. Again, I assume everything's stainless, the grate included. This just keeps your fire just up off the base to allow airflow from this bottom airflow here to get in and under the fire and go through it, so you can have it fully open, which will be a nice hot roaring fire. And then there's 3 sections you can put into there. That's 1 slightly open, 2 slightly less open, and 3 closed, although it's pretty much fully closed, but I'm sure there'd be a tiny bit of airflow through there. But you know, you probably have it like that just to tick over. But and then your latch here has this sort of heatsink handle, so that shouldn't be too hot. You should be able to do it with your hands, although I'm sure you could just use your little tool as well. Yeah, you can use that. And then basically you have these racks on top that fold out, and they're really solid, nice solid hinges. They're not going to break anytime soon. And this obviously just expands. If you're cooking with more than one pan, you can perhaps put something just over onto the side to keep warm, or you could hang wet socks, wet gloves, that sort of thing. Possibly even stand wet boots maybe on there, or hang them from the laces. Obviously maybe not having a fire too hot, you wouldn't want to burn anything, but yeah, I mean, all in all, I'm well happy with that. You know, it's a good looking stove. I like the look of it, which is obviously fairly important, because for me, I haven't really just bought this for camping. I used to do a lot of camping, haven't been quite so active the last couple of years, but I'm planning on getting back into it a bit more, hence why I bought it. But I also want it just to use at home in the back garden, when I'm sitting in the back garden having a beer or whatever, or got friends over, family over, that sort of thing. I've got one of these clay chimneys, but it doesn't seem to kick out that much heat, and also it can get a bit smoky. Obviously the chimney is quite low, so part of the reason I've got this, just being honest, is literally just to use it at home and as a sort of a chimney, just as a heater for the back garden on the deck when we've got family round. So, you know, to me it looks pretty cool, and that's all sort of part and parcel of it, isn't it? Is looking good as well. It's nice to have stuff that looks good and is good. It's very well made. All the body, I think, is 1/16 of an inch stainless, all 304, and the cooking top is 1/8 of an inch stainless. I assume that sort of holds the heat a bit more and is a bit more sturdy to cook on, because you can get a little bit of warping in the first burn or two. Some of the sides you might get a little bit of warping, but it says it shouldn't interfere with the function of the stove at all. So as long as the door still shuts, fine. I'm not worried about having a little bit of warpage on the sides or anything, but I'm assuming the top won't warp because it's thicker. But even if it does, as long as it doesn't interfere with the cooking, then that's fine by me, really. So as you use it, it will take on what they call a patina, but I actually quite like the look of it. It's sort of like a bronzy, coppery brown sort of colour. As you use it, the stainless will tarnish. It's not corrosion, it just naturally tarnishes with the heat, and it actually takes on a really nice look, I think. And yeah, it's pretty cool. So what I'll do now is I will pop it down on the ground, so I can assemble the chimney and just have a look how it looks fully assembled. But actually what I will do first is I'll just show you some measurements, so that if you're thinking again one, so you can see the exact measurements. So the top cooktop is basically, this is to the outside because it's overhanging, it's basically smack on 10 inches, and then the depth to the bottom to the very top 10 inches as well. So obviously internally is going to be perhaps 1/4 inch less than that. And then the length of log that you can actually fit in then, so the internal length is 18 inches, basically smack on. I tend to cut most of my logs about 10 or 12 inches, so that's fine for that. But yeah, so the only other thing I've got, this at the moment is a freebie that comes with it, and it's just the brush for cleaning the flue pipes, and this, in my experience, is something you should do quite regularly, probably every time you use it. The old stove that I've got is a Frontier. Is it a Frontier backpack or something like that? And it's done its job. It never kicked out as much heat as I would have liked. I used to use it in my 5-meter bow tent, and it always struggled a bit to keep me properly warm. And I did notice that if I left it up for any length of time and used it perhaps 3 or 4 nights on the trot, it would occasionally get clogged up, because the flue on that is only 60 mil, if I remember rightly. This is 3.5 inch, so shouldn't clog quite so quick, but it's still important to clean it. So this is just, every time you use it, give it a bit of a run through and just get any sort of build up of soot out, and that'll just help to keep your drawer going nice and strong, which is basically what controls your fire. If you lose your drawer, you'll just get lots of smoke coming out the door, probably out of these gaps up here. So you want a nice drawer to make sure you don't get any smoke, especially if you're using it in a tent. I remember having a camping night one night and I literally had to leave and go home. It was the middle of the night and the tent just full of smoke, and it was because the fluid blocked. It was my fault. I had used it a few nights on the trot, hadn't cleaned it. So that is something that is really quite important, because it could be quite dangerous if you didn't wake up. So yeah, always clean your flues out. That's the biggest tip I could really give for using a stove in an enclosed space. But yeah, it's a cracking looking little stove. You've got to agree with me on that, I'm sure. So what I'll actually do is I'll fire it up. If the rain holds off, I'll fire it up late on tonight in my back garden on the decking, sit and have a drink, and I'll get it lit and show you how it actually works. But I'll stand it down now and put the chimney sections on anyway. So I'm out here in the no dig veg garden. The rain is holding off for the time being, so I'm just going to quickly assemble the chimney. So your damper section goes on first, and it just slots in. It's a nice tight fit. You can turn it around, but that's a real nice tight fit, no movement really at all. And you just got your damper there. If you had the pipe oven, I think that would go on next, but I assume you can put it at any height. But the pipe oven goes in between that section and that section, gives you a little oven there. So that's one thing I may possibly get as a next add-on. And then I'll just put the spark arrestor on first, because I won't be able to reach it else. That is quite a nice high chimney, and it's fairly sturdy if you give it a bit of a wobble. So it does move. There is a little bit of movement in some of these joints, but nothing too much. And you have got 3 guy rope attachments for the top of the chimney, like you have on any stove chimney usually, so that you can take 3 guy ropes off just to really support it in the wind. So obviously that's something because I'm probably not going to use this in my canvas tent. I tend to just do hammock camping now. So yeah, I probably will have to get some paracord and make some guy ropes for it, because it'll just be freestanding outside like this. But so the height from the ground to the very top, if I can hold that down there, is about 2.6 meters, and to the actual top of the last section of flue is just under 2.4. It's about 235 centimeters, or 92.5 inches. But that's a pretty good height. So like I say, for me, using this at home just as a little heater to sit around with friends having a beer, it just gets the smoke at your face a little bit. What I found, I've got a cast iron fire pit. Obviously that with any breeze is right in your face, and the sparks as well, it can be a bit of a pain sometimes. And even with the chimney on a stand, the chimney's about this high, and it just, it just gets in your face, and you end up half the time trying to move your chair around out of the smoke. So I'm just hoping that having this will just take the smoke away a little bit more, because it's kind of above the fence line. Obviously in my back garden I've got a 6-foot fence either side and about an 8-foot fence at the bottom. So the breeze should be cutting across and should just take the smoke away, I'm hoping. And to be honest, for me, that's probably where this is going to get its most use. I don't camp that much, when I used to do it quite a lot, I might go out a couple of nights a month. Haven't been out at all for a couple of years, but I'm planning on getting back into it now. But I will be using this in the evening at home probably every week, so it's going to get more use at home. I'm thinking probably a lot more use. But yeah, the look of it, I think it looks Looks a stunning little heater, so I'm quite happy with that. I'm quite looking forward to having a drink later and getting her fired up. But I'll finish the video at home, like I say. I'll get her fired up, show you the first burn, and we'll see how she goes. So it is raining, but I'm not going to let that spoil my fun. Let's get her lit. Probably better take out the instructions, eh? Just leave the door open so the flames are going straight up through the kindling first. It's kicking out some heat now. It's ideal for this little deck area. It's been going about 15 minutes now. So that is with the bottom vent on, the third out, so that's as open as it goes without opening it further. And that's a pretty roaring fire. The baffle on the flue is fully open too. So I'll just show you, if you shut the baffle on the flue, so if you watch the flames,
you can see straight away how that shuts it down, and you get some smoke coming out the door. So obviously you just got to get the balance right. Yeah, it's really kicking out some heat now. Really happy with it. So for using as a patio heater, flue is high enough. These are 8-foot timbers up to the top of the pagoda that I built, and it just clears it. But it burns quite efficiently actually, there's not too much smoke. So that's a cracking little heater. So it is drying out, as you can see the decking below it. I may need to think about putting a slab, just to put a concrete slab there as a heat barrier, but we'll see. I'm only going to burn these other 3 little logs at the bottom tonight. I won't do any more, just a trial one. You can see it's already taken on the slight patina. The first 2 to 3 flues have darkened quite a lot, less so at the top, and the stove body is just taking on a slightly sort of bronzier look, but that will continue to get deeper and darker with more uses. So now that it's really hot, I'm just going to test out the Cool Touch handle. Yep, it's completely cool. And I mean, that is really kicking out some heat now, but the handle is totally cool. All in all, it's a cracking little stove. I'm well happy with it. This is where I'm going to be using it more than anything really. You know, just in the back garden at home. But obviously I'll have to have a bit of a cook on it when I'm having a camp out. But the amount of heat that it kicks out, it's really good. The controllability of it is really good. The build, the look, you know, I'm just basically pretty happy with it all round. And would I recommend it? Absolutely. I think it's a fantastic little stove really. So that's me sitting there having a couple of beers into the evening, keeping warm by the stove. So enjoy your evening, people. Take it easy, and we will see you next time.